Hello everybody, I am coming to you today and I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, and then I haven't completed my virtual crop sketches, so I thought that I would start with there. So one of the sketches that we have this time was this sketch, which she had numbered these pictures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I was trying to think of some pictures that I had that would be a sequential numbering of photos. And then I remembered, well, really what happened was I was looking at what albums I have a lot of layouts done, but the album isn't finished. And 2019 was one. And I had taken my son and his girlfriend to San Francisco, and we went on a food tour. And it was a lot of different stops with a lot of really yummy food. So I thought, oh, that would be really fun. So I thought, let me go find those photos. So the first thing that I did was I went ahead and I printed a bunch of the photos. Now, I knew from my layout that these needed to be 3x4s on the right side, and then I had a couple 4x4s, and then I have a 4x6. So we had a couple group shots that I made a 4x4 when I printed, and then I did a bunch of 3x3s. And I did it this way because I wanted the names of the places that we stopped at, I wanted pictures of the food, and I also wanted pictures of James and Olivia eating the food as we went along. And when I do my layout, I'm planning to use peekaboo pockets under each of the stops where I can either put the food on top, the sign on top, or them on top, and the others for that spot underneath in the peekaboo pocket. So now I have my pictures. I'm pretty excited about my pictures, and I was trying to decide what kind of a paper pack I wanted to use. Now, when you have pictures, paper selection is always one of the harder parts. So there's two kind of methodologies in how you can do this. The first, which is one that I most often use, is color. I look and see what kind of colors I have in here. I have a lot of blues, so I could pull a paper pack that had a lot of blues in it, maybe some golds with some hints of red, and I would look for something like that. The other way that you can choose a paper pack is by theme. So this was a food tour, and we just so happen to have a new advisor exclusive paper pack called Delicious Memories that is coming out. So every quarter, people who place an order of $150 get some prizes from me as a thank you. And so this is this month's or this quarter's thank you gift. It's the Delicious Memories Designer Paper Pack, and then it has some really fun embellishments that go along with it. So I loved this because it's Delicious Memories, and the papers are so fun. So I thought, okay, I want to use this paper pack. It's got all kinds of wine and spaghetti and pizza and all kinds of fun things to go with our food tour. So this is the paper pack that I'm going to choose. All right, so now I have my pictures, and now I have the paper pack that I want to use. So now we have to figure out, how am I going to lay out my paper and how am I going to choose what goes where? So let me just move all of this really quickly out of the way. What I do next is I usually start on one side. So I will pull in my mat here, and then I will just grab a couple pictures, and I probably am going to want to pick ones that have James and Olivia in it. I should have done this before I moved them all. So this is a good one because there's a lot of blue there. And I don't know, I'm just going to choose a couple different ones that have different color selections. And then I'm going to go back to my left-hand side. So I know I need a really big hero piece of paper that's on my right. And then I need a complementary picture that's going to go underneath all of my pictures on both sides. I want to choose a paper that's going to complement my pictures. And in this case, because we're talking about food, I kind of would like to choose one of the food papers. So I'm thinking this would be a great statement piece. And the reason is it's thematic, it's the food without being really super loud in color. it has this cream base. So the cream base is going to be more neutral against my pictures, which have lots of colors and lots of chaos and lots of busyness going on in them. So I'm going to put that over on the side for right now. All right, so then the next category that I need to choose is the main background, which is basically the bulk of the paper. This is the most important paper to choose, really, because this is the one that my pictures are going to sit on top of. So I'm looking for something that's kind of a medium scale pattern. So something like this would just clash. Something like this, it might work, but again, it's a little stripy. I'm not sure, but it could work. This is going to be too much pattern for sure. Again, I just think it conflicts with the one on the side. So in this case, I think what I want to do is I actually want to go with the back side of this paper. So I think I really want to use this green gingham. So I probably will weld this then. I'll cut this and weld it. So I'll have green on one side and then I'll have my print on the other side. So let me just go ahead and do that really quickly. So I know I need 4 inches. It kind of looks like a tablecloth, which I love. And then it just blends perfectly. All right, so we're starting out here. So I really just like this. It looks like a tablecloth to me. It blends perfectly with the cream on here. It's not competing with my prints. It just kind of blends and makes things all neutral. But now I need, if you look at here, we have some striped elements. I also need to choose a paper to ground my pictures. So that's the next most important decision, is how are we going to ground my photos so that they're the hero? Because right now they're blending in and it's pretty crazy. So I can go back to my pictures and I could try red, but it doesn't, my pictures aren't really popping off the page. So red's kind of going away. But you know what I do like red for? Red probably would be a really great stripe on the side. So I'm liking how the red on the side looks, because remember, I'm going to need some striped elements here on the side. And I would probably want to pull the cream over one last time. So I like this for my striped elements. I like how that looks. And I don't know, you guys, I might try and get the words so the words are showing, even though they're running vertically. I like being able to read the words. So I like how that looks. All right, so then we can try yellow. Yellow's better than the red, but my pictures are still not the heroes. They're still not popping off the page. It's just not good enough. But what about black? So let's put black. Okay, I like black, but I don't like this because the white on the statement print is competing now with all of my other images. But I do like the black background. And typically when I have a busy pattern like this, I'll be honest, I usually go back to the basics, right? So I could choose just to put a white element on, but because everything is cream, that doesn't look great. I can choose to go with a vanilla or more of a cream color, which that works okay, but again, it's not making my photos the hero, and we're always trying to make the photos the hero, so that doesn't work. Another neutral that I like a lot, it won't work on these pages, I don't think, but just to show you what I mean, I use tacky a lot. And here it just blends in completely, so that doesn't work. So I'm going to be back to black. Let me pull one of those out. And I personally like the black. The black draws from the illustrations over here and it's dramatic. It just, to me, feels like a restaurant, right? It feels like a fancy Italian menu type of restaurant. So I am probably gonna go with black as my mats on my photos. The other thing that I am going to do is I'm going to ink around the edges for sure of my pages. So let's go ahead, let's get that going. Let's get that all laid out and see what that looks like. Let me move all of this out of the way. Okay, you guys, so sorry about that, but my camera stopped working when I was mid-process of my video, so you didn't get to see the final me working on it, but I caught it, I fixed it, so I am going to do the final reveal of the page that I was working on, and here it is. So let's talk about it. I went ahead and I added the black mats, which was great. This is a very busy page because there are so many pictures on here, and every one of these is going to be a peekaboo pocket with more pictures underneath it because I just had a lot of pictures I wanted to put on here. So because of that, I needed all the space to be able to allow my peekaboo pockets to come in. That means I didn't have a lot of room for embellishing. So I've put down here a very flat embellishment. It still ties into my other page. It still brings a little bit of a focal point down here, but it keeps everything flat. It still allows me to have my peekaboo pockets, which was great. The other element in the sketch that they had was she had put all of these little boxes with numbers. Well, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to take away from the design of my page, but I did have these two cute little embellishments that looked like postage stamps, and so I went ahead and added them, and I just feel like it carries the entire theme of what I was looking for. So again, in this case, I did not go with color, I went with theme, and I think it ties in perfectly, and I'm very, very happy with how this page turned out. So let me fast forward to the left side. Now the left side is not a typical Jenny side because we've now gone kind of cockeyed when everything here is very struck and grid light. But I'm challenging myself to think outside of my norm. And here is my final page. And I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. So let's just talk about it for a minute. I kept the icon. Let's talk about it with the sketch right here. So I have my icon paper going down the side. It's kind of the hero paper. Again, it has the foodie theme in the background. I used my two group photos as my cockeyes, and I have the 3 embellishment clusters. Here's one. I just did little. I feel like I didn't need big embellishments. So I just chose some little tiny flowers, which kind of goes with this whole dining out theme. And then here, I didn't want this big, huge element. It's already busy enough. It is busy with all my foodie pictures. It is busy with all of the icons. So I didn't want another big block of red wordy bits. But I did need to balance it a little bit. So instead of doing that big block, I just chose to do a little tag. This was my biggest challenge, and I'm sorry it wasn't on video because you would have laughed at me. I started this entire block with a black mat on top of the cream. And what I found was my eye kept going here. My eye kept going here. Let me see if I can show you. So if I put this mat here, which is what I originally had, even if I put a menu on top of it, which is again what I had, and we'll even put like a little something up here. When you look at this page, your eye goes here. No matter what I did, my eye would go here. And for me, that defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do. I am always, always, always trying to make my pictures the hero. And if my eye is going here, nobody's looking at my pictures. So I finally removed the black mat, and I decided I could just leave it cream, but I needed to neutralize the icon paper beneath it. It needed to be more subtle. So what I ended up doing was taking a piece of vellum, putting it on top. That mutes the icons underneath it, which allows the top portion, which is my menu, which will be my journaling and the bon appetit, to come to the surface. Now when I look at it, my eye still goes there, but it just kind of glazes over there and moves on to my pictures. It doesn't just sit there with that big black spot. So I'm very, very pleased with how that turned out. The other change that I made was the original instructions I think are wrong. It says a 2 1/4 by a 3 1/4, which is this size. But you can clearly see if I put this size on the mat, it's not even filling like that virtual sketch, like that sketch shows you. So I changed this to a 3 by 4. It now fills the square. It's more proportional to everything else. I mean, even here, if you look. So they have the measurement wrong there. But now it's much more proportional and it looks better. The other thing that I did was I kept my title simple because everything else is so busy. I wanted to keep my title simple. So now when you look at my layout, it's a completely different way. I didn't go based on colors, but I 100% went based on theme. I love this paper. It has a very Italian kind of laid back restaurant-y feel, which is what we were doing, was a food tour, and I'm really happy with it. So I want to challenge you that you don't always have to go based on color. If you have a fun paper pack, you can choose to go with theme. That is another way to go around it. What do you think? Do you like it, or should I stick with color? It's a preference. I'm happy with it. I think it's fun. I think it's different. It's what we were doing, and in the end, I'm okay with it. So hopefully you maybe learned a little something. Again, I'm sorry my video cut out, but I'm pretty pleased. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your week. Bye.